Hello, welcome to The Last Tackle Inside England. We are inside the England camp once again, as we are every week of the tournament with the men's team, the women's and the wheelchair tournaments, which we're very excited about starting next week. We are in the company of a man who appeared for England in the 2017 World Cup final, Mr. Kevin Brown, and a man hoping to appear in this year's World Cup final. We will see Andy Ackers. Great to see you both. By the way, Andy, he's fuming because he's been sat here half an hour and you're in the showers or the sauna or something.
It's not like him to moan.
I said it wouldn't change.
How have the days been since the last game, which was against France, and it was ultimately a satisfying victory, but I know your coach at the time was a little bit unhappy with various aspects. How have the days since been?
Yeah, great, just same as every other day, training hard. We reviewed the France game, put it to bed, and we're looking to Greece this week. Yeah, just same as every other training day. It's really intense, really tough, and get loads out of it.
We'll look ahead to the Greece game and the rest of the tournament as well in due course, but let's spend a few minutes talking about the France game. What was your take on England's performance, Kev, against France?
I thought they started exceptionally well. I think expectations have really increased since the Samoa game. They were obviously fantastic in that game. But then I thought there was a 20-minute period just before half-time where they took the foot off the gas a little bit, whether that were mentally or physically, I'm not sure. But France came back at us, and I just thought we showed a lot of character in the second half to run away with it. But we just look quality. We look like a team. There's not, we don't look like a group of individuals. I think, the outside backs especially, we've got a lot of strikes. So as a fan, I'm very excited what we can do in this competition from the opening two games.
And we are all fans, let's not forget that. We've got a former player, a journalist and a current player, but we've got 3 England fans who want the team to win. Was that the main reason for Sean's frustration at half-time? We could see on footage from in the dressing room of him kind of miming at you because we didn't have the sound, but he was shouting stuff. Was it about you got what you deserved? Was that what he was saying?
Kev just hit nail on it. That's exactly what it was. We just took our foot off the gas a little bit, and the impact from the bench wasn't as good as the starting, so the game just dipped, and France got a couple of tries there just before half time and got back in it. But yeah, like you said, we fixed a few things at half time, and it's still a little bit scratchy at second half, but it's all about building in it for these.
That's really hard to do that when you're not going as good as you want to go and getting a rocket, but responding to that is quite rare. If you do start, like I watched Tonga the other night, they didn't start great and obviously got a rocket off Christian Wolf at half time, and they didn't come out and change much. But I thought what England did, the way they responded to Sean Wane, clearly sees that. You can clearly see the buy-in from the group, and I think that's why we beat Fiji so well, we beat Samoa so well, and now we beat France so well.
But you must know that as players. Sean is always going to say that to you at half time because he's your head coach, and he'll lay into you. But you must know as players, you're very intelligent guys on the pitch. You'll know when it's not going well, won't you? And sure, you'll know why it's not going well at certain points.
Yeah, like I say, it's just like I think the weekend's the result was just the impact from the bench. I don't think that our bench brought enough energy to continue to keep the level as how I actually was. The start of the game was really intense, and we got away with a couple of tries there early on with Ollie. But yeah,
I'm trying to remember who was on the bench, who we blaming it.
Yeah, probably me. There's nobody to blame. It was just the energy levels, was a bit different, and obviously France brought a couple of high impact players on in Gadwin, Springer, and they just come through the middle of us and brought loads of intensity. We need to bar up with that.
It's a learn as well for international players. The first time I was ever on the bench was for England, and there's players coming off the bench now who aren't used to coming off the bench. It's completely alien for the best player in the club team to start on the bench and then to come on a bench and make an impact. So I think that's another learn that we've going through as a country. That'll suit us in the backstage of the competition.
That's what you were saying to me 7 days ago here, wasn't it, Andy?
Yeah.
It's been learning for you because you've been playing every single minute, one of the best players on the pitch all year at Salford, and suddenly you've had to play a completely different role. Yeah,
well, it's something we've spoke about. Obviously, we've spoke about it because, like, speaking to Mikolai, he was saying the same. Like, he's used to starting. So obviously, when we're representing our country, we're not going to be the leaders and calling the shots. We're going to come in and try. Obviously, if Sean wants us on the bench and coming off as a bit of an impact and bringing high energy level, then it's something we've got to adapt to for to get the win for our country, do you know.
Is that a mindset thing? Is it, I don't know, is it an ego thing, or is it just something, a case of adapting?
I don't know. It's like Kev just spoke about now. Like I can't remember the last time I was on bench. I think it was like 2 or 3 years ago. So I've not been on the bench for a bit, and it's not a bad adjustment to be on the bench, you know. But if that's how it is, then that's something we've got to adapt to as players.
I think it's a preparation thing.
Yeah.
For me, I did it twice, I think. And
What, you were only on the bench twice, ever?
Twice in my career, I think. But it's completely different, and I think preparation when you eat, you know, what you have before the game, because I was used to take caffeine to spike me for kick-off, but I had it at the same time when I was on the bench, and I was sat there full of energy, full of nerves, and then I didn't release it.
Down.
And then all of a sudden you can be on a bit of a downward, you know, energy, and then all of a sudden he's going, you're on. So it's completely different, your preparation, what you bring, because you have to make an impact. Andy's right, you can't just go in and feel your way in and you know, play the basic game. You've got to make an impact, and at the hooker especially, that's a completely different role.
I think as well, obviously, you can get too emotionally involved when you're on the bench. Like you've got a job to do. You need to stay focused, and obviously, I think when you do come off the bench, it's like, right, I need to add my impact for the team here. And sometimes it can go against you, and you try to do too much, and that's where errors and mistakes come in. But yeah, like you say, if it's for your country, then you've just got to adapt to it.
We'll pick a few more bones out of the France game in just a sec. What I do love about this is we've spent 5 or 6 minutes picking flaws and focusing on negatives, and England have won very, very convincingly 2 games in a row, which I think is great in terms of where the expectations should be. Let's hear from the head coach next. Here is Sean Wane. These were his thoughts to the media after that win over France.
Sean, ultimately, win's a win. Wasn't the prettiest, but you'll be happy with the result.
Yeah, we got the job done. We can do a lot better than that. A bit upset with a few things we did, but overall, we got the win. We got 2 wins out of 2, and that was the most impressive thing.
You started really strongly again. You must have been really pleased with the way your team came out of the box.
Yeah. I thought in patches we looked great the first 20 minutes. You know, but we made some changes. Our standards dipped a bit. Our detail was poor, but I know we can do a lot better than what we did today.
Any individual performances that stuck out? Because you brought a few changes in, obviously, from last week.
I thought Rads was good. I thought John Bateman was good. You know, a few individual performances. I thought when we was on, there were quite a few players on, but just not consistent enough.
158 points in 3 games, obviously, including that warm-up game against Fiji. Are you pleased with the way that your team are going about on the attacking side of it?
Yeah, on the attacking side, yeah, but I think about the 12 points they scored, and you know, we can't allow teams to do that to us, and you know, our defence needs to be better.
Greece up next. It'll be a different challenge, of course, but an opportunity to get players back, you know, in the squad and more minutes.
Yeah, more minutes, more people get a chance, and it's a test match, so it gives us a chance to make sure that we're prepared and we can get to a quarter final hopefully. And if we do that, everything's habit forming. So as long as I see good habits next week, then we're okay.
Just quickly, how's Callum Watkins?
Yeah, he's okay. He's had an end knock, but he's all right. He's okay. He'll be good for a couple of weeks.
Well, thanks, Sean.
Thank you very much.
So that was Sean Wane speaking to us after that victory over France. Your own experience, it was your first cap. You played in the warm-up game, which wasn't a recognised cap, so this was your first go, and you spoke to me last week about the pride of walking out there on your son's 3rd birthday, I think it was last Saturday. What was the day like and the experience like for you?
No, it was really special. Obviously, it was really special for my family as well. You know, I tried not to think too much of it leading up to the game, but because, like I said, what we touched on earlier, you can get too emotionally involved. But yeah, I enjoyed the whole experience. Obviously, there's a few things what obviously I didn't intend to make, but yeah, I don't want to really dwell on the negatives, but we got a good win, and it's solved our spot in the quarter-final, hasn't it? So yeah, we've had a couple of good wins now, and obviously try and make it 3 from 3 against Greece this week.
We forget really when we get into it and talk about the intricacies of professional sport and rugby, Kev, that these are great life experiences, and you know, things like that, your first time walking out and representing your country, these are memorable moments.
Oh, they're the best moments, and I think you appreciate it more when you get to a certain age. Andy's, you know, getting to the, you know, middle to back end of his career now, and you know, he's worked so hard to get here, and that's what I had to do. So I felt, you know, I was lucky in one aspect that it was a journey to get there. It didn't just happen when, you know, I was 17 or 18. I had to work so hard, so I appreciated it so much more. And now I've retired, I look back, and they are the best moments. They're the best moments for your family, representing your country, and the hardest moments as well. But often the hardest moments in your life, in your career, are the best moments. So I'm sure there's a few around the corner over the next month or so for Andy and the lads. But yeah, what great experiences it is.
Have you felt pride yourself? I mean, you've played together. You'll know Andy very well, seeing his journey and knowing him like you do. Have you felt a sense of pride watching what he's been doing this year?
Probably the most proud I've felt about any other person and player than myself.
Wow.
You know, I remember Andy coming in from Toronto during the break, the COVID break, and he's worked so hard. He you know, he had things in his game, and you know, he's worked so hard, and I've seen all that. I've seen him, you know, playing great, and I always told him that this should be his goal. And when he got there, he rang me, and you know, like when you say proud, I was bursting, and he was crying on the phone, and you can feel when someone's living a dream and it means something, and they're the people. I'm sure Sean Wane wants, and he's got 24 of them who will die for the badge. And yeah, in terms of being proud for me, mate, I couldn't be prouder.
And that's the point. It's not, you know, we're talking about you. I'm sure it's quite tough for you just staying silent listening to that. But it's not just you. You know, there's that kind of story and that kind of pride and personal pride everywhere, not only amongst the playing camp, but in Sean Wane, your head coach as well. I can sense every time I see him walking around this Robin Park, it's like he wants to live here. He doesn't want to go home, does he? He doesn't want this journey to end, and that's got to be infectious.
Yeah, of course it has. He's made it clear from the start what goal it is, and obviously that's to win the World Cup. And I've never seen anybody work as hard as him. I think, like you just said, I don't think he does go home. He's constantly reviewing games, and he's constantly on to the lads what he actually wants. And it's great. It's great as a player, because when you've got that, you know you're only going to get better. Do you know what I mean? There's no going through the motions here. You smack bang on the goal. You know, so yeah, everyone's working hard and everyone's bought in, and there's nobody looking at elsewhere. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, it's really enjoyable to be in camp. I'm just living my dream, like Kev just said, like every minute.
What was your experience of England camps? Was it something you looked forward to and loved while you were in it?
Yeah. Well, I had a few different coaches with Steve Mack. It was a completely different experience. That was a great one where we went to New Zealand, and then Wayne Bennett came in, and it was he had, for me, the perfect camp life, where it was work so hard, and then you play, and if you do well, you get to go out and enjoy the moment. And that's something that I took away from that camp a lot, that enjoying the moment. I often played a game for my club, win or lose. It was either relief that we'd won or dejection we'd lost, and then I was thinking about the next game and never actually being present in that moment. So Wayne taught us, you're present in the moment, enjoy the little wins, whether that's against Lebanon, Scotland, New Zealand, whoever it is, enjoy your company together. But when we're on, we're on. And clearly Sean Wane's got that balance. I think, you know, I've saw a session or two, and the intensity, I don't know what you think, Andy, but the intensity to me, you know, I'm not on that field, but it looks like something I've not been involved in before.
Let's talk about the next game. That's this coming Saturday, Bramall Lane against Greece. It's play 2-1-2. You will anticipate it'll be play 3-1-3, with all due respect to Greece, who look like they're going to be the weakest team in this group. Does that represent its own challenge to you? Because you have to keep the momentum up going into the knockout stage.
Yeah, I think obviously the proof's in the hard work. Obviously the results what we've come up, like Sean touched on, that we could have been better in the France game. The Samoa game was impeccable, you know, the scoreline on that. But it's all hard work. It's the result of all hard work, and obviously this is our second session this week, and we've got one more left before Greece. But yeah, it's just all down to hard work. Every single person in camp and in staff is all bought in. So that's where the results come from. It's
a difficult fixture, this, in a way, for England, isn't it, Kev? Because they're 1 week away. They're going to be 1 week away from a quarter-final, and they're unlikely, with all due respect again to Greece, they're unlikely to be challenged as much as they're going to need to be in that game, be it against PNG or whoever it may be.
Yeah, well, we've heard from Andy today how the performance levels and the standards are so high. So irrespective of who they're playing and who the opposition is, they'll want to defend tough, they'll want to attack well, and they'll be judged on that, regardless of the scoreline and who they're playing against. It'll be about performance, and the next round in the quarter-final, there's places up for grabs, and you're playing for your country as well. I played, against some teams that you were expected to walk over, and even in friendlies, you're singing your national anthem, and you're up for it. It's not a game or a competition that you can take. You're playing in a World Cup, so I don't think, one, Sean Wane coaches this side, so they won't be underdone, and two, these lads are professional players, playing for the country. I just think there'll be a level up again, and they'll be ready to go in that quarter-final.
There'll be a few changes again. One of them we know because Callum Watkins was knocked out cold, absolutely clean, wiped out in that France game. How is he?
Yeah, he's good, Callum. Yeah, he's good. He's ultra professional and he's doing everything he can to be back on the field. But there's a protocol now, is it? 11 days that he can't play. So yeah, he'll miss this week, Callum. But I'm sure he'll be back fighting for that quarter-final spot. Like we spoke about before, the proof's in the pudding with Callum. He's been the ultra pro, and now for so many years.
He's always on time, isn't he?
Yeah, he's always on time. But yeah, I love Cal to bits. He's a great athlete and he's an even better bloke.
I know. I mean, that's we can't go into all the stories because we don't have time. But that's another great one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Your teammate at Salford, start of the year, probably much like yourself, he wouldn't have been thinking about a World Cup or about England because he had a serious injury. Probably thought it was all behind him, and then a stunning run of form in a completely different position. And here he is playing it back at centre in a World Cup. Fantastic.
Yeah, that's just a result of Cal, though. That's everything he does behind closed doors, He's not had it easy with injuries. He's had some bad injuries, but I think the goal was probably in his head, and the result's so sweeter that he actually is here and he's representing his country and he's doing it well. I think he's been a star in both games now, so obviously before he got took off with the injury, and he was having an absolute stormer. Against Samoa, I think he was the man of the match. So yeah, Cal will be back out firing soon.
We'll have some final thoughts on the Greece game and some more general thoughts in just a sec about the World Cup. But we started back against Samoa, as Andy mentioned, at Newcastle, and that's where we're heading back to Newcastle for Magic Weekend next year.
One of the country's great sporting cathedrals welcomes the Magic Weekend. Gets the try. Jay Field! Oh, the beautiful pass. Davis for the corner. Mamo salutes the supporters. Jesus going to get the try. And Murphy sets off and leaves them behind. Low back to the little kick. Amazing. Paul from Lola here. And the try is from Chris Sunday. Daryl Clark has absolutely caught them napping.
Yeah, Magic Weekend heading back to Newcastle, which is where England's and the World Cup journey started with that thumping, very, very impressive win over Samoa. Kev, you mentioned some of the standout teams. Let's just spend a couple of minutes widening the chat to who has impressed you so far, because we're getting to that point now. We know England are in the knockout phases that we can get excited about who it might be. I know you've seen Tonga, you've seen PNG. Obviously the heavyweights, the Aussies, New Zealand and England. Who's impressed you so far?
Well, I'll start with who's disappointed. I think Tonga and Samoa. I had such high expectations for them, and I think they probably still will get there, but at the minute they're not where I thought they would be. The team that has
Tonga
really
won
surprised
2 out of 2.
No, they've won 2 out of 2, but I thought Papua New Guinea were the best side against Tonga, and I still do think Papua New Guinea are probably the team under the big hitters, England, New Zealand and Australia, that could potentially cause problems. We've seen what they did to Great Britain on the tour. I think if Coates plays on the wing against Tonga, Papua New Guinea win that game. They look very well balanced, they're very tough, but with Lachlan Lamb and Ipape and Johnson at the back, they've got strike, and the best teams have a real good spine, and Papua New Guinea have got that now. They've always been tough. I've played against them twice and never got through half time. I've been knocked out in the first half. So they've always been tough, but they've got that quality. And for me, I think, well, we'll potentially as a nation face them in the quarter final. I think that's a massive game.
What have you? I don't know how much you see of the rest of the tournament. I presume you've been watching the other games when you're not in here or playing for England. What have you made of what you've seen elsewhere?
To be honest with you, I have seen a couple of games, but the focus is just fully in camp. You know, we're not focusing on like who's doing what and who's doing this. Australia look good. New Zealand look good. There's a few teams like Kev's just touched on there. Papua New Guinea look good. They've got some good strike players like he's just touched on again. But yeah, the focus with us boys is just fully on us. Nothing else.
So you've seen nothing that would scare you so far from anyone?
No. No.
Have you, as an England fan, have you seen anything that would scare
Oh, look,
you?
Australia look very good. Very, very good. But they always do.
But that's no shock, right?
No, that's no shock. I think they come in, massive favourites. They've won 8 of the last 9 World Cups. But I look at this England side, and one thing that we've never really had is big, quick outside backs. We've got that in abundance now. What Dom Young's doing, Herbie Farnworth, we mentioned Callum. We've got big. We've got Ryan Hall who potentially won't play. So we've got so much quality in that back line. We've always had a good pack, and I think Radley's come in and really helped that. We can beat any team in this competition, I'm convinced now, and if we play to our potential, I think we could win the World Cup. It's just we need to keep getting better, and there's some big games around the corner. Hopefully we can keep our best players on the field, and we'll have a chance.
It's that fine balance, isn't it? One more game of the group to get through. You want to give it everything to, certainly for you to tie down your place, but you don't want to be getting injured now either.
No, like Kev's touched on before.
Or suspended.
Or suspended. He touched on before, it's not like a game that you won't be getting up for. It's playing for your country. It's representing your country. You're singing that national anthem. Obviously, Sean doesn't have any mediocrity in his sides, and obviously that's proof from the recent results. So we'll be going out firing this week and looking for a good result for going to that quarter final.
Andy, best of luck for the rest of the week. We'll see you in Sheffield on Saturday. Kev, always great to see you. Thank you. I hope that's got you excited for the next game on England's road. We hope to a World Cup final. Bramall Lane, England, Greece, 2:30. Get your tickets. We'll see you there Saturday.